Backend, Translation Panel. The Translation Panel is a web application that allows for comprehensive translation of content used in Komandor software. The user can perform translations directly in the web application or use the export and import function to Google Sheet, which is particularly useful for larger numbers of texts or when cooperating with translation agencies. In the case of translating large datasets, we recommend the following procedure. Export texts from the application to Google Sheet. Enter translations in the sheet. Import translated texts back to the application. Publish translations to end users. The application allows you to publish a translation package with one click, which significantly improves the work of users and speeds up the introduction of corrections and language updates. New translations are available to users within a few minutes, which is visible after restarting the application or changing the application language. You can access the translation panel from the Komandor Software department. After gaining access, go to the Translations Languages tab. Then select the language you have permissions for from the list. In the upper right corner, we can see the percentage of all text translated and the number of required texts translated. You can filter required texts in this column. These are all application texts, orders, reports, and all translations for raw materials available in the linked plants for a given language. In the first column, we can see Polish texts. Of course, we can sort by the selected column and filter. In the second column, we can see texts that need to be translated or are already translated. From the application level, we can correct them or add missing ones. On the left side, we also have information about what a given text looks like in English. In some cases, an additional description is visible to explain a given text. We can filter text. Of course, we can display all text, missing text, or automatically corrected text. This part will be discussed at the end. At the top left, we have the option of refreshing texts. When new texts appear, they are usually added automatically, but we can speed up this process and download them earlier. We can export text to a Google Sheet, import text from a Google Sheet, and prepare a language pack for users. After selecting this option, translations reach all users who work in a given language within a few minutes. The whole thing is visible after restarting the application or when changing the language to the target one. At any time, we can also download the language pack in Test CRS. The last two columns specify when a given text was created and when it was translated. Of course, we can sort by these columns. In the case of exporting data to a spreadsheet, we can run the spreadsheet on the right at the top. A tab for translations for a given language will be created. In the spreadsheet, we can see a column in Polish, a column in the target language in which we translate text, an auxiliary column in English, a column with an additional comment, the possibility of filtering required data, and additional ones such as translations of raw materials, applications, databases, and resources. After selecting all columns, we can turn on the filter and use Google Sheets tools to freely filter and sort selected texts. For example, we can select only required texts and only untranslated texts. After completing the text in the Google Sheets spreadsheet, we can import the data from the spreadsheet. During the import, translations of programming variables are checked, which should not be done. I will search for an example text. All texts in curly brackets are programming variables and should not be translated, because this will result in incorrect display of data in the application. As we can see here, the variable has not been translated, so it is translated correctly. Using the automatic filter, we can search for automatically corrected texts, i.e., those in which the variables have been translated. In such a case, the machine adds the autofix text and throws all the missing variables to the end of the text. Thanks to this, the data will still be displayed in the application despite the incorrectly translated variables. Such texts should be corrected. For example, this variable should be corrected to the correct one. Let's do it from the application level. You can do it, for example, this way or the next one. Done. We recommend correcting all texts where variables are incorrectly translated.